Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going to be discussing my top 5 favorite Warframes in the game. Because my top 5 favorite Warframes in Warframe would have sounded silly. But that's not important. What is important, this is going to be a straight off the cuff conversation. I have a rough sketch of what I want this vid to be, and I'm just going to roll with that one. So you should bear in mind, this is not one of those top 5 OP Warframes or top 5 most powerful Warframes, bestest at the game at bestest at I'm not exactly sure what it'd be the best at. This is gonna be simply my selection. And with that out of the way, a wise man once said, if you want me to tell you who you are, show me your most played Warframes. And that we shall see. Now, I haven't seen this section in quite a while, but I got a rough idea of what I got. You go to equipment, you select Warframes, and from the drop down you go to used. Yeah. Should have saw this one coming. We're gonna go back to front. And at number 5, you have Hydroid Prime. Damn. We're gonna exchange Hydroid Prime for Mesa and or Mesa Prime. But first, let me explain to you why Hydroid is here. Now, back in the day, people used to run Kuva Survival to get their Kuva, okay? And you would stay a long while, it would get difficult, it was fun, but you needed one of two things. You needed either a Hydroid or you needed a Necros. Right, nowadays you can use Korra and whatever else. She's a bit more favored by the meta. People don't really play or like Hydroid because I don't know why you get to be a puddle and then use your mobility skill and then you get to be a tidal wave and you have tentacles, for the love of God. But it's also true that Hydroid is one of the Warframe that most needs a rework, so I'm definitely gonna get on board with that. I went for Hydroid back then in 2018, 2019, and I went solely for Hydroid when it came to Kuva Survival simply because everybody else went for Necros. I wanted to do something else. I didn't like playing Necros all that much, but I did enjoy being a big old puddle and just chilling out there. And nobody was like, hey, is Hydroid doing anything? You get my drift? You get my drift. So yeah, that's why Hydroid is here. We're gonna replace it. We're gonna pretend it's Mesa here, or Mesa Prime. Mesa was one of the Warframes that had the biggest impact on me. Mesa is an absolutely outstanding Warframe, one that you should play. She is the cowgirl of War, the pistolero, and her best ability has to be her 4 ability. It goes into this stance where she absolutely mows down everything around her using her regulator. Mesa is an absolutely godlike Warframe. I highly recommend it to just about anyone. She can also handle endgame if that's what you guys are interested. Depends on what your endgame is. Is it something like staying a whole lot in a endurance run? Then by all intents and purposes, Mesa can be the frame for you, but there are other more attuned frames for that. This is gonna be a build. I don't think I upgraded this build in years, so do bear that one in mind for Mesa Prime. You're looking at something like that. You go into your force and you essentially mow down everything that stands before you. Again, it's a highly outstanding Warframe, one that you should at least try. Go for the Prime over the normal version. Because back when I farmed the Warframe, the farm for the normal version was absolutely bloody insane. It was hella difficult because you had to get this key and do a key share to get the stuff. It was not fun, my friend. So go straight for Mesa Prime. Besides, she looks better. So there you go. Ember. Yeah. Ember nowadays can be played into somewhat of an AoE nuke frame for her 4 ability. The problem with Ember right now is the fact that she is extremely power hungry in the sense that you need a lot of energy. And that doesn't really play very well into Steel Path. So if you're looking for that, if you're looking for a Warframe that can consistently pork out numbers in Steel Path, well, Ember is theoretically capable of that. Not being able to spam down energy paths kind of works against her because, again, she is a tad on the energy hungry side. But there are other extremely big advantages to Ember. For example, she's one of the hottest Warframes. I'm sorry. I had to make that pun. I'm sorry. I could not resist. Ember is an outstanding Warframe. I love her. I played her a whole lot back in 2019, 2020 because she was one of my first ever farm Prime Warframes. You can go for a build something like so and explore her capabilities. Keep in mind that these are not like the meta most powerful builds. This is something you should treat like a jumping off point to the Warframe. Now, speaking about favorite Warframes, I always believe that your favorite Warframe should take into account multiple aspects. First of all, playstyle. Do you actually enjoy executing the gameplay of that Warframe? Do you enjoy the builds that Warframe has and are considered to be quote-unquote viable? Or are you the kind of person that simply likes to make up their own builds? That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm looking for guys like that kind of make up their own thing regardless of the meta. Now, cosmetics in Warframe are also a thing, and you should bear in mind that Warframe definitely has some really nice fashion frame possibilities. For me, that is also an aspect to my absolute favorite Warframes. Do we got cool skins for them? Do we not? Because a lot of the Warframes are simply kind of ignored when it comes to skins and stuff like that. And that is another big aspect for me. So Ember, again, is here because of days gone past, essentially. Once upon a time, she was my favorite Warframe. Once upon a time, she was my go-to Warframe for mostly everything. She was my Rhino of old, if you want to say that. Rhino's right here. Right, Rhino should be here somewhere. Hey, Rhino Prime, there you go. 2.5%. Played this one a whole lot as well. Harrow and or Harrow Prime. Harrow used to be a Warframe that was extremely underrated. In essence, what Harrow is a support frame. Harrow has the capability of saving your entire party with a single key press. Boom, you press your 4, everybody's invulnerable, everybody gets crit buff, you also give them mana, and by mana, I mean energy and all whatnot. I still feel he's a little bit on the underrated side, but he is catered more to the supporty kind of player. So if you're that kind of player, you gotta give Harrow a try. When it comes to aesthetics, this guy is also absolutely insane. The amount of skins he has, the cool fashion frame possibilities that you can make with Harrow are absolutely bloody insane. Here, have a look. Something like this, or you prefer something like more dark, voidy, totally different. I mean, you wouldn't think, if you take away the stance, right, and the wings, fine, you wouldn't think these are the same Warframes. So 100% you gotta try yourself some Harrow. Now, if you're the kind of player that says, hey, listen, dude, if it can deal damage, I don't care. It can, okay? Harrow can deal damage. Harrow actually has a super GG build for ESO. Believe it or not, you can out-DPS Sarens using the following build. Or something like this, okay? This one is based on the following ability, Thermal Sunder, that you can get from the... What's his face? Helmet, yeah, Helmet. Yeah, you get yourself this one from the Helmet, Thermal Sunder. This is Goose's ability, yeah? Frederick Goose. sorry, my bad. I had to make that joke again. If you are looking for damage, once you get the Thermal Sunder build underway, once you keep rolling into energy, you are basically unstoppable. You clear the whole map. Is an extremely effective build for ESO. So if you're tired of boosting people using Saren, although she has a nice... that's not important. What is important, you can go for something like Harrow. He is capable of dealing damage. If not, you can go for a straight support setup, something like so. You will never get any thanks, but that's not why you do it, right? You do it for self-satisfaction and the enjoyment of playing the game. Or at least, that's why you're supposed to play game. In any case, back to the last two. Now, the last two... I feel sometimes they should be inverted. It really depends on the case. It's gonna be Mirage Prime and it's gonna be Revenant. Ever since Revenant was released, me and a friend of mine, essentially we tried all the possible builds for Revenant. We tried to make him as powerful as we could. We tried to make him as quirky as we could. Revenant was launched to us as a sentient Warframe. And then they quickly kind of like forgot he's the sentient Warframe and launched another kind of like sentient Warframe. Zaku, that's it. So you have Revenant, you have Zaku, and you have Caliban. Those are the three sentient Warframes, kinda. Now, if you're a lore buff, by all intents and purposes, my friend, correct me in the comment section down below. Revenant is a goddamn monster. Revenant has been a monster for, well, ever since release, if you think about it, but the problem is, the meta hasn't really fully taken advantage of Revenant's power up until recent times. Now, Revenant can be anything you want. Do you want AoE damage potential up until, let's be really honest, up until level 120? 120, maybe 150, you can AoE clear house by being a beautiful ballerina. Who doesn't want to be a beautiful ballerina? Let me show you the build right quick. Again, these are suggestions, my friends. If you feel like this should be better than this, sure, it's fine. Go for something like this. This is I spin, I win for Revenant. I love him. He's amazing. This is the build I play most because it is quite comfortable to play. It's tanky enough, and it's extremely mobile as well because of the combo between his 4 ability, Spinny, 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 and his 3 ability, which is arguably one of his best ability, Reeve. Now, this ability comes into play into his... I can't believe I'm gonna say this, his meta build. His meta build is 1-3. You cast 1, you cast 3 on a group of people, and by people I mean enemies. You go 1, yeah. and Thrall, and then you go free, and yay! You kill everybody, essentially. He's extremely powerful like that. His tankiness will be coming from Mesmer Skin, even though in more recent times, Revenant lost a little bit of power because of the unstunnability of Eximus, which in and of itself is a bit of a silly idea, but that's a topic for another video entirely. Or you can go index tank, bruh! You are tired of Rhino and whatever else for index tanking, you can go for Revenant index tank. Not a bad idea, so there you go. He's a jack of all trades, he is my comfort pick, he's the frame I pick up by default. Do you guys have a frame you pick up by default? This is mine. Revenant, the Returned, the Condemned, an absolutely outstanding Warframe, one that I highly recommend. Also got really nice fashion frame possibilities. If you guys are into that, I'm highly into fashion frame because basically I waste, quote unquote waste. If you're having fun, it's not wasted. Yes, hours and hours fashion framing, well, Warframes. And at the number 1 spot is Mirage Prime. Lady Mirage Prime. It's hard for me to overstate how much I love this Warframe. This was the Warframe, the first Warframe that made me go, wow, that is absolutely insane. Now, she's not perfect. She has got a Prism build, she has also got a Bombard build. I never been a fan of those builds. I never really enjoyed them. Why I use Mirage is because I love weapons. Essentially, this goes back to this is my favorite Warframe in the game. Simply because my favorite part of Warframe are the guns, and she is the most powerful weapon buffer frame. You see how that one works? Through the use of her free ability, she can gain or she can amplify the damage of weapons by an obscene amount like no other Warframe can. Now, of course, she also got clones, and of course, she also got the Disco Ball and all whatnot, which is arguably her worst ability. The Disco Ball is really not what it's at. You can replace that one with something like Empower or whatever else your build calls from the helmet system. This is why I love Mirage. In terms of fashion, she's definitely not bad. There are plenty of opportunities and options to fashion frame Mirage if that's what you're going for. I always love the default design of the Warframe, and I always try to kind of like amplify that. And this is currently my favorite Warframe in the game, simply because it ties into my passion, what I enjoy doing. But that, my friends, are just my top 5 favorite Warframes in the game. I am looking forward to reading your comments. I'm genuinely curious, what is your favorite Warframe, if not your top favorite Warframes, and why is that? Does it tie into what do you enjoy doing? Does it tie into the lore of the Warframe? Does it tie into the cosmetics? What makes you tick when it comes to, well, the most important part of Warframe at the end of the day, the actual Warframes? As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!